So this is a kind of unintimidating question. It just says in statistics, what does DF italicized denote? Most time we just write DF, but anyways, in a simple random sample of 16 speeds of cars on California Highway 405 is to be used to test the claim that the sample values from the population with a mean greater than the posted speed limit of 65 miles per hour. What is the specific degrees of freedom? So anyway, they're testing a claim. In other words, they're doing a hypothesis test, and we have the sample data. So we're going to use a t-distribution, and we're going to need the degrees of freedom. So there, I'm kind of already answering it. DF stands for degrees of freedom. So. If you did not remember that, there's no problem. You've got the symbols table is going to be at your hand. It's the second page where it says DF, and it's denoted by the number of degrees of freedom. Now, it is not always true that the degrees of freedom are n minus 1, which is the next part of the question. But for most of the time, chapter 7, 8, what we did in 9, 10, the degrees of freedom was n minus 1. So like the critical t-value chart, that distribution, we would just do n minus 1. And remember, then it's conventional rounding. The chi-square distribution, we are doing n minus 1. So most cases, in fact, if you can gather from the wording of the question, which is always important, read the question, try to understand what is known, what's not known, and what they're getting at. In fact, let me hop back over there really fast. It says that this stuff's the simple random sample of 16 speeds is being used to test a claim. So that's a hypothesis test of a claim that the sample values from a population mean are greater than blah blah. So it's a right tail test, and it's going to use a t-distribution. If you can remember that it's a hypothesis test, then you can come to the review card and go underneath hypothesis testing, one sample hypothesis testing, and you'll probably find your answer there. You'll probably find more about the degrees of freedom. So here it is, where DF, it doesn't tell us what it means, is n minus 1. Well, we use the symbols page to remember what it means, but n minus 1 is the calculation we're going to use to find it. So we drop out C and D for the first thing. That it's not the distribution of freedom. So we use A or B, and then we read over here to see which one's using the correct DF. Well, if n was 16, the sample size, then n minus 1 is obviously 15. So that's the right answer. And I'll submit the test, but this time, do we even have to wait for it? I'll just go there. Okay, so here's the question. We got it right. So DF, degrees of freedom, n minus 1 for pretty much every case we did. I wish I could ask you if you had any questions in this case, because I don't know how there were 13, well, I guess some of them were reattempts, but that means that several students had tried, missed it, and then went back and figured out what they did wrong. And this is definitely a giver, an easy question for you. So get it right.